What's up, family? Now, do you recall when Joy Behar from The View accused Joe Rogan of believing in dragons? If you do not know or you do recall, check this out.
This guy Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it.
He believes in dragons?
He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did. And he also thinks that dragons, like I guess like dinosaur type of animals, roamed the earth when people did. So this is the type of really, really bad information that's going out there.
Well, in defense, there are some really
But
good
it's possible that Donald Trump did roam the earth when dinosaurs were here.
Well,
This guy Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan actually clapped back, and it turns out the only fairy tale here is the View versions of the truth. But I want you guys to watch and see what Joe Rogan had to say.
Dragon lover.
Joy
Behar was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just heard about
it. I checked it. And the lady goes, did you double check this? She goes, I checked it. He believes in dragons.
Should be like
you think they lived
Sasquatch,
alongside of
bitch.
people.
Wait,
It was from a wildlife biologist who came on my podcast. It was from Forrest Gallant.
you're taking Joey Behar, whatever her name is, as like a
This is right
as a news
after.
source.
Did you have a stroke?
No. This is the most important
I don't watch
part.
The View. I don't know these people.
Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she
What?
by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by
Yeah.
ABC News, and then making the stupidest fucking statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't
the
believe
other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
weigh-
there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles. And
I
then
don't
there's
know.
also listen,
It doesn't make sense to me
There-
that a middle-aged woman could be dumb.
when
horse?
you're worried about losing your job and
Yeah.
you're worried about podcasts taking over and who's the source of news and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us and he won and this is fucking great and Joe Rogan believes in dragons. It's just frantic. It's
Bro,
foolish.
if you
Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He
believes in dragons?
He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Yes, I did.
Well, family, this is why conservatives have been so critical of these legacy media companies talking about fact checking, right? She claimed that she triple sourced the idea that he believed in dragons. But when we all listened to it, he never said that he believed in dragons. So, what the heck? But anyway, will she come back out on The View and tell people, hey, you know what? I misspoke on that. I was wrong. I actually did not triple check it. Of course not, because she's going to hide it behind ABC, because ABC, they're not going to admit that she was wrong. The only time they're going to step in is when they have to get to reading a legal disclaimer live on air because they crossed too many lines, right? And that's why it's very important to know where you're getting your information from. That's why when we see a mass exodus of legacy media and left-leaning influencers because they lied to their audience, and this is why you have people like Angela Rye sitting here acting so emotional, right? Because of Kamala Harris' loss. So with no further ado, family, I want you to check this out.
I'm very emotional. I think that I feel the obligation. I feel frustrated, honestly, with myself because I spent so much time over the last couple weeks just focusing on the half that I hate right now, like the half of the country that I despise. Um, and I'm frustrated about that because you don't get understanding through frustration and hate. And I think that what I feel guilty about is knowing that there's an obligation to a whole other half, you know, of the country and feeling like there has to be a conversation, you know, a come to Jesus, as they say, with so many people because we are really not on the same page. And
Okay. So when she's talking about, well, I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to get the information. I don't know how to find the answers. Well, number one is, Angela, you got to get the hate out your heart, right? I don't hate Joe Biden. I don't hate Kamala Harris. I don't hate Angela Rye. I don't hate anybody. because that is the poison, right? And now I don't agree with your policies. I don't agree with Joe Biden. I don't agree with Kamala Harris. In fact, that if she was elected, I'll be one of the top people saying that this is bad for our country. But would I ever go to the level of hate? Never. That's your problem, Angela Rye. And no matter, the fact is, the people on the left, that's their problem too. They have hate fueled with denialism, right? And the lens that they see the world through when it comes to a Trump administration is hate. So until you address that, you're not going to find any answers. But let's continue.
I am at a loss at this point for how to get there. And so I think you guys know I'm fiercely competitive over all kinds of ridiculous things. But what I really don't like to do is I don't mind saying I don't know. I don't mind admitting I don't know. I hate not knowing for an extended period of time and feeling like the overwhelm of I don't know where to turn to find the answer, right? Like, I don't even know if at this point people will be honest about their reasons for voting for the other side, or if they'll be honest about who they really voted for, because they probably know us or have seen us and wouldn't feel comfortable telling us the truth. So where do you go to solve an I don't know when you're not even confident that people will be honest with you?
Well, that's what she had to say. In this case, man, look, she can't find the answer because she already assumes that the answer that the people will give her is not the real answer. And she's also assuming that people are lying right now to her about why they voted for Trump, when that's not actually the reality. The reality is people voted for him for economic reasons. So Angela is not really looking for answers, not yet at least. And she's not ready for the answers because she can't accept the truth. What they usually say, family, you can't handle the truth, right? And that's her problem. Now, we have another person I want to show you guys who is also battling with what she's battling with, which is the hate. And this is Senator Sherrod Brown out in Ohio, right? Who just lost the election to Bernie Monero. I think that's his name, Bernie Monero. He lost the election too. And which was one of the seats that flipped towards the Republicans and why the Republicans have a Senate majority. Let's hear the reasoning on why he lost the election. Check it out, family.
They lie about it, and they put, in this case, they spent $40 million on 8 different ads on that issue.
On transgenders.
Yeah, they weren't talking about how to make Ohio a better state. They're not doing their job on education. They're not doing their job on health care. They're not doing their job on creating jobs.
But they're winning elections. Are they successful?
They're winning elections in part because they've rigged the system. They made it harder to vote. They've changed ballot language in a dramatic way with the last election. They did that with abortion rights. It didn't work in that case.
Yes, they spent all this money against you guys. One, are you out of touch on those issues? 2, should you guys have done a better job in pushing back?
I'm not out of touch with those issues. I go home, I hear people all the time. I know how they focus group, and they lie. I mean, how do you call me out of touch when they lie about an issue?
I mean, I guess it's been an effective campaign tactic. Do you think it was an effective?
So if you want to be so cynical as a reporter that, it worked, we applaud them, so they're so smart.
I'm not applauding them. I'm just saying that if it works, right?
Well, yeah, but your job as someone who is a fair player in this, and I think you are, I've known you a long time, is rather than commenting on it works, comment on they lied, and that's not a fair way to play.
Well, family, so essentially he's claiming that the election was rigged because Republicans got away with misinformation. And you guys know every time I do these videos, that seems to be the recurring theme of misinformation, right? Being the excuse nowadays. And the irony is, it's so interesting because Democrats have spent years accusing Republicans of undermining trust in our elections. And now that they do it, it's okay. Now that Democrats do it, it's okay though, right? So in this case, they lie, but then they try to blame the other party and accuse them of lying, but they're the one doing the lying. So it's a lot of projecting going on, is my point. And let's just exercise some common sense here to add some more context to what I just said. He did not represent the policies that America wanted, right? That's just common sense. That's why he lost his election. It's that simple. And accusing the GOP of lying without any evidence is obviously reeking of desperation and showing that he's a sore loser. So this isn't about the election integrity. It's about Democrats refusing to accept accountability for losing touch with the American people, also lying to the American people and not having their best interests. Now, someone who is also out of touch is Rosie O'Donnell, okay? So I want to give a second to talk about Rosie O'Donnell because she had a lot to say this Thanksgiving, or a day ago, I should say. And she had a few choice of words that led to her latest meltdown on social media, which was, in this case, TikTok. So with no further ado, family, check her out.
You got to get ready for what's coming. But trying to stay on the happy side of life and not, obsess on that either. But it's hard to avoid it when it's so blatantly obvious when you look at the parallels that we have been here before as a world. When democracy falls, fascism takes its place, right? Capitalism. And it's come. And people, I think, are in for a shock.
Well,
there
you have it, folks. I showed you that clip because, guys, I mean, you're going to have people you're working with, maybe even some of your family members, who is Rosie O'Donnell mentally, and that's how they're handling this past election, and they shouldn't be, really. I mean, it should be them exercising more emotional intelligence. They should have stronger mindsets around this stuff. And this isn't a democracy. This is a constitutional republic. So the democracy hasn't fallen. Fascism hasn't really taken its place. So that's a false claim there. And in fact, if you want to go down the road of fascism, you can argue that the current administration, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and people like that, they actually exercise some fascist traits against the American people. And again, that's why they lost this election. But nobody wants to accept the truth. They just want to blame. And probably the people at the top of the list who refuse to take any responsibility but spend 99% of their time blaming other people are Hollywood actors. Now, and this is interesting. You know why I say Hollywood actors? Because a Hollywood actor has something to say, right? And and she's very, very known. They call her the mother of Hollywood. And she's hilarious in her own way in her actors. But this is Jennifer Lewis, who's an African-American, had a sit down with Stephen A. Smith. And let's just say she explodes and she blames black men. So check this out.
Let me ask you this. What about what they've said in terms of black, particularly black men and Latinos, supported him more than they have in the past? Why do you think that is? And what do you have to say to black men and Latinos who were not in favor of supporting Kamala Harris?
Oh, honey. Oh, honey. When your favorite niece and your 13-year-old daughter is raped by your alcoholic brother or the next door neighbor, and she tries to abort that baby inside of her from a rape, you're going to regret that. They want to keep women in their place. It's so disgusting. I can't even put words to them voting for her. They didn't vote for her, didn't vote because she was a woman.
Okay, pause it right there. I know Stephen A. Smith does not believe. I mean, come on. I mean, Jennifer Lewis, she's like Angela Rye, right? I showed you her earlier in this video. I mean, they are on like the fringes with their beliefs. They are very progressive and they see everything through the white man and black people, and that's how they see it. Race hustlers. Obviously, she's not saying anything that's really credible because it's not backed up with any data points. There's no numbers to truly support those claims. Latino men actually probably made one of the biggest differences here. Suburban white women also made a big difference here. But you know who actually made the big difference is the Democratic Party failed to communicate their message, and they put up a terrible candidate. But wait a minute, it's because black men could not vote for a woman? That's what it really came down to in her mind? But anyway, let's continue.
They didn't care that she was smart and powerful, educated, beautiful, kind, joyful, fearless. She would have taken care of this country. She would have protected the people. She would have surrounded herself with great minds. But keeping women in their place was more important to them. And black men, that was just shocking because, honey, he's going to give the military and the police permission to shoot you in your back, and there will be no immunity. So, baby, y'all done fucked up. You took every right from your children. Once again, there will be no social security and pensions and rights. This thing has said you will never have to vote again. He's going to be in charge of the military. We have fucked up.
My only message to Jennifer Lewis would be, number one, blaming black men is not going to be the solution to whatever problems you have going on in your mind. In fact, it would just make everything worse. You're not going to get anywhere. Number two, the problem with people like Jennifer is they cannot reconcile that sometimes there are people who are just not good enough for what they're asking for, right? And I mean, that's just what it is. It has nothing to do with your skin color or your gender. You're just not good enough yet. And I don't believe Kamala Harris will run in 2028, and I don't think she should run in 2028. But anyway, let's just say if she did or if she does, I don't know. Maybe 10 years down the road, maybe Kamala Harris will be a more formidable candidate, but she's not today. And one of the reasons why I know I could even argue this for Jennifer is just by saying, hey, Jennifer Lewis or Miss Lewis, who would you vote for? Michelle Obama, Condoleezza Rice, or Kamala Harris? I'm sure you would have taken Michelle Obama and Condoleezza Rice over Kamala Harris. I'm sure you will have. And then, of course, we have one more meltdown. But before I get to that meltdown that I want to show you, I just want to show you guys and give you guys some value because that's what we do over here. She's blaming black men, right? But mind you, we all know, and if you don't know, I'm here to tell you that black people are very significantly a small portion of the American or the USA population. And in this case, since she's blaming black men as if it was their fault, when I just told you that was most of the part of what made a big difference was suburban women and actually Hispanic men. They made a big difference in the election, which made it result in, well, Latino men and suburban women. That's what I'm trying to say. Made a big difference in the election. But she's trying to go blaming the black men route. So I want to show you guys the data, right? So if you look here, it says black voters. Harris' strongest support by far came among black voters, where she received 83% of the vote compared to 16% for Trump. Overall, however, Harris underperformed compared to President Joe Biden during the 2020 election, where he received 91% of the vote from black men and women compared to 8% for Trump. In particular, Trump performed better among black men, where he received 24% versus the 9% of the vote among black women. Now, what I'm trying to say here is Harris' stronger supporters were black voters. She limited herself by playing identity politics and targeting black voters in particular as if that was going to win the election. But if you recall what I said, the smaller portion significantly of the whole American population is black African-American individuals or voters in this case, because I'm talking about the election. And if you don't believe me, we'll look at it from a demographic standpoint. So the percentage of the let me zoom in. This is the question. The percentage of the percentage of demographics that make up the US. The United States population is made up of a variety of demographics. Race, let's go here. White people, 59.3% of the population. Hispanic, 18.9% of the population. Black or African American, 13.6% of the population. And Asian, 5.6% of the population. So if you want to be more particular, and the rest is just native and so on and so forth. But if you want to be in particular, Black people is the second to last when it comes to having a volume of percentage. So Asian is 5.6%. So they're after Black and African American people of the population. So they're second to last, if you want to think about it, from a majority standpoint when it comes to having a significant amount of a small amount of the demographic when it comes to Black people in the population. So my point is, Black people have a small percentage, and the data shows, as I present to you, because I like to use facts, and we're going to use viable source for information that's accurate here and spread truth, because that is the way that you can tell evidently that Black people are significantly the lowest in regards to making up the entire population of the U.S. So she's going to blame Black people, and then she want to take it a further thing of blaming Black men in particular. So the people that you wanted to vote for you, you're saying didn't vote for you, but they did vote for you, and you're mad because the demographic that you choose to limit yourself by targeting yourself to focus on, when it should be not identity politics, instead of speaking to the whole United States and the whole in people as a whole, you want to distinguishedly and particularly limit yourself by going to a certain demographic that you want to fall before your knees. And this is for my Black people out there, man. You know why she targeted Black people? Because you're fools. At the end of the day, they could give you a hand up or a leg up. And at the end of the day, as long as you're getting a handout, then you are satisfied until you don't realize what they're incentivizing for you to do in regards to what they're trying to do. So, however, Black people be their own demise because they're voting based on identity politics, but doesn't mean they have the best interest for you, because this person looks like you feel as though they should be in office, but do they really have the best interest of you? Let me give you a scenario. You know how they say this famous line of saying the people close to you will tear you down the worst? Well, if you're voting for someone who looks like you just because they look like you, but they're not qualified for the job, who is to say they have the best interest for you? But then they give you something that you would like to hear, but doesn't necessarily need, what leads you more into destruction. And I'll give you an example. When she said she wanted to give $6,000 tax credit for babies for stroller and diapers and so forth, $20,000 for a first home time buyer. Well, if she's giving $25,000 or $20,000, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm always open to the possibility of being wrong. I'm going off the top of my head right now. But when she said, for example, $20,000 for first home time buyers, so Americans can live the American dream. And then she went a step further to say, Black people, I'm going to give you this innovation when it comes to involving the healthcare technology and being more innovative for Black men with prostate cancer, to put more preventive measures in there, to let alone hone in on taking care of your health and also lowering the percentage of Black men dying from prostate cancer. You're just throwing things out and you're flip-flopping because you're telling people what they want to hear, but not what they need to hear. And this is why, for example, the media, MSNBC, they're telling you what they want you to hear, and they're manipulating you. But when it comes to the results, they're not your best interest. So that's why people aren't tapping into local or big corporate, big networks anymore, big media. So what I'm trying to say is that $20,000 to the first home time buyer situation, yes, that would incentivize you to get a home, but then the purchase of the home would be so far out of race because the cost of living goes up, because now property taxes go up. Because think about it, when the government give money, they're going to get it back tenfold. So now you think you have something, but in reality is they're putting you in a situation that you cannot afford, and then they'll make more money off you in the long run, because banks will make more money based off of interest, because the interest rates will still go high. And then at the end of the day, they'll come snatch that home if they want to, and now you're out of a home, and they're advocating like they're having your best interest, but instead your own demise. Because if the cost of living is so high and your wage is not not beating the freight or going with the rate of inflation, then you're left behind. So then she gave you a first hometown buyer for $20,000, and then when you're struggling, you're going to go back to her and say, "Hey, look, Kamala Harris, you look just like me. Can you help us again?" So it's an ongoing thing of pulling your leg, thinking they're helping you, but they're really not helping you, because they'll make a problem, and then when it comes closer to election, they'll say, "Hey, vote for me again because I'm the real solution." So that's all I have to say about that. However, I have one more thing, and obviously I have mentioned this, that there's one more meltdown that I want to show you with a liberal woman, okay? A liberal woman here who was basically having a tantrum on TikTok, okay? She having a tantrum on TikTok, and this is her, and I want you guys to check it out.
MAGA women who voted for Trump, they did so because they have no way of taking care of themselves and they have to rely on a man. So when they see women who are financially independent, I think there's like a little bit of jealousy there, and they want us to feel the same imprisonment that they feel because they have to rely on a man. I said what I said. I say it with my chest. Bye.
She said it with her chest.
MAGA woman.
With someone snoring in the background of her video. Interesting. But however, I'm so happy she said that with her chest. Now let me say this with my brain, right? Common sense we exercise here. Number one, just because a woman stays at a home and take care of the kids doesn't make her less than you because you claim to be independent. And you don't need a man. In fact, it actually, I would argue, makes her stronger emotionally, spiritually, and even physically because she's taking care of multiple kids. And to do that, I will argue it's the hardest job in the entire world. And second, clearly, you have had some of that feminism juice, or juju, I should say, because that really is not serving women in today's world. And pretty much what you guys have done is you sold out family values. You sold out true happiness and purpose for money. And we know that she believes she doesn't need a man. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to call it how it is. She'll probably get a dog and die. She'll die alone. She doesn't need a man, right? Because no man wants to marry a woman who believes she doesn't need a man. And men know what they need. I mean, men know that they need women. And until a woman understands that she needs a man, she's not going to get along with one. And that's just the bottom line of it, all right? But anyway, family, I hope you guys got some value out of this. Give this video a big thumbs up on your way out the door. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you've been watching a couple videos, subscribe and join the family. If you're new, check it. Just give me a thumbs up as your price of commission. And no further ado, family. I'm out. Peace. Love you.